Hey guys, what is going on? It is C.A.P Gaming here. Today I'm going to be going over some things that I think could fix zombies. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the high rounds and how everything works like that. I've been seeing people complaining about new perks that are coming out and why they think certain perks shouldn't come into the game, and I'm here to give some reasons and ways that Treyarch might be able to fix zombies, or at least keep it to where it's not super nerfed and they completely destroy it for new people coming into the game. Because I think their goal with this game was to introduce new people, because you have like big streamers like Tfue, who has never done high round zombies, going for around 100 or something like that. But anyways guys, the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be rounds, and then, or high rounds, then we'll go into perks and things like that. But anyways, let's get into my first part. Alright, starting off with my first thing, high rounds. So when we talk about high rounds, we typically think, in older Call of Duty games, we think round 255. However, in this Call of Duty game, you can actually get to a higher round than 255. The problem is with what high round players are having, so pretty much the top 1%. Like, I consider myself a high round player, but not nearly as good as them, like round 500s, things like that. They're complaining because they're thinking it's too easy for people to get to high rounds, where I don't really think that, because like for me, I consider myself high rounds and I haven't made it past round 80 yet. I mean, it's hard to practice the strategy without actually getting there, and you have to get all your weapons and everything set up, and it just takes time to get there, so there's no point in practicing. If they wanted to fix something like this, what they could do is add a classical mode, where in the classical mode, the zombie spawns for the knocked building are different, and they're actually a lot slower. And maybe they add a spawn off to the right. I don't know if that's like an actual fix they could do, but I just really want a classical mode, like it's classical points, classical everything. Maybe keep the pack-a-punch the same, and I feel like that would make it a little more interesting for people. I don't know. I don't want to say more interesting for high-round players, but it would make high-round players be able to do different things. And in the classical mode, it's built to where the high, like if you're going high-round, it's set to where it'll just keep on going. It doesn't really stop, but the Ring of Fire just doesn't work as well in that. And have that be its own separate category, because then that's a lot more impressive than someone getting... And also in classical mode, you could turn off the Verrückt sprinters, but you just add more up top of knocked, so that way it makes it to where that camping strategy is not viable. But then you could keep it in normal mode, and then you get the Verrückt sprinters on round 52 or 53, whatever it is, and they're able to run through, or they're able to go up top, and the spawns are still the same as what they are today, without nerfing things into the ground. My next point's actually going to go on to the specialist. Everyone's complaining because everyone's just using Ring of Fire, and I mean, obviously if you're running the Easter egg, a lot of people are using Aether Shroud, but with Ring of Fire, everyone's saying that they're only using that, and that's why Treyarch's nerfing it, because everyone's just using that. Instead, what Treyarch should do is buff everything else, because zombies should make you feel overpowered. If you were to buff like the Electric Blast, the Frost Blast, the Healing Aura, things like that, if you were to upgrade those, it would make those more viable to use, and not everyone would just use the Ring of Fire. While the Ring of Fire is really good, if they keep dumbing it down, it's going to be completely useless, and then no one will use it, and then you'll have the same problem as all the other stuff going on right now. So maybe with like the Electric Blast, make it to where it's like double the radius or something like that. And I know that's already one of the skills, but make it to where you can hold 3 or something like that, so then it's more viable. The Healing Aura, make it to where it lasts longer. With the Frost Blast, make it to where it actually damages zombies. I think it does. I don't know. I don't use Frost Blast. I find it to be very pointless. And then with like Aether Shroud, make it to where when you're in that state, the zombies don't go sprinting off, and you also get like quadruple damage when you're in Aether Shroud for those 8 seconds. Something like that. Make it a little more even. Point number 3 is with the perks. So I've had a lot of people telling me they wish Double Tap was in the game. And now, while I do like Double Tap, I feel like Double Tap 2.0 would make all of these complaints about the high round stuff even worse. While Double Tap 2.0 has never worked on the ray gun, or any other wonder weapon for that matter, it does make them fire faster, and it would also make it to where regular guns, like the shotguns, are even more overpowered than what they already are. Because the Hayer 77, Pack-a-Punch, and Golden, or Legendary, sorry, is already a one-shot kill still well into the round 30s. So if you think about it, it would be a one-shot kill for an unlimited amount of time. which might make people actually want to use it and not use the ray gun or the die or something like that, which would make sense. But they also want to keep it to where the ray gun and all of that are more important. So here are my thoughts on how you could bring in double tap or you could bring in double tap. The basic version of double tap just speeds up your fire rate of your weapons, which would help kill them. With shotguns, for the gallo, it would actually shoot faster. You'd be able to pull the trigger faster, less time between shots. And then with a hair, it would pump the shotgun faster, things like that. With rocket launchers, it could fire the rocket launchers 2 times faster, something like that. The rocket takes less time to travel to its location, something like that. With the tier 1, what it would do is it would make it to where critical hits actually do double the damage of what they already do. Now I know there's already something on Deadshot that does that, but it's only on the first shot. Then for tier 2, what it can do is it can increase the chance of you getting a critical hit, or it can put the critical hit to where a body shot has a 10% chance of becoming a critical hit. And then with tier 4, it could do, or tier 3, it could do something like double damage on normal body shots at 10% of the time, something like that. Pretty much make a normal, any shot on anywhere on the body becomes a critical hit, something like that. I think that would be a good way to implement it to where it's not going to break the game, but it will also bring something new into the game. And now another perk I want to talk about is actually Mule Kick. So Mule Kick, what everyone's saying is they want Mule Kick to be the same as it was, where you just get you get more weapons. But the problem with that is they think that more weapons, so having 4 weapons, should be one of the tiers. I'm going to argue it shouldn't, because you already have trouble. Like for me, I never bought Mule Kick unless I absolutely needed it. Like Origins is one of the only maps I've ever bought Mule Kick on, because you like are forced to have the staffs. And you want other weapons when you're doing staff upgrades. But what they could do with Mule Kick in this game is have regular Mule Kick just come in, give you 3 weapons. Tier 1 of the new Mule Kick could allow you to keep that weapon when you rebuy Mule Kick. Something like that. So say you go down, you lose Mule Kick, you lose that gun. When you buy Mule Kick, again, it gives you that gun back. It's just unupgraded. The next tier, what it could do is it could have the gun stay upgraded to the first tier. Then the third one, what it can do is it can actually have it to where you have 3 extra clips of ammo for each weapon, other than wonder weapons where it only gives you 1. So that means the ray gun, instead of having 160 left or bullets, not counting the one in the clip, it will give you another. It will give you 200, something like that. Because the wonder weapons, you don't want to give them too much, because you do want to make it challenging. But with other weapons like SMGs, things like that, give them 3 extra clips to work with. That would make it more viable. And that's how I think they can implement Mule Kick really well. And my last thing with fixing zombies is something I don't think they'll do. But, I mean, I feel like we'll get griefed at one point in this, because this map is actually set up really well for grief, in my opinion. But one thing I would love to see is them to implement the kind of like transit area, like the green run area where you had town, bus depot, farm. Because this map is set up perfectly to where you could do that. You could have one map just be the Noctra and Totem building. You could have one map just be the underground area, like in the actual Pack-a-Punch room. And say in the Noctra and Totem one, you can't Pack-a-Punch your stuff. Say something like that. In the Pack-a-Punch one, you have the Wonder Fizz machine, but it isn't unlocked until round 20, and you only get Pack-a-Punch. And you get Pack-a-Punch right away, but you don't get your perks till round 20. Something like that. Also make it to where it's customizable and where you can play with whatever point, like you can play with a certain amount of points, starting on a certain round, things like that. And then the last spot you could do are like the crash site or the pond area, something like that. Or you could even have it where it's a first room challenge, and the only thing you get in the first room challenge is quick revive. Something like that. And then also the self-revive kit. Another thing they could do is they could make it to where in those maps you only get 3 self-revives instead of an infinite amount. But I actually like the infinite amount of self-revives because then it caters more to new players, and I like the idea of new players coming into the game. That's why I don't really agree with these high round players. Anyways, guys, if you have agreed with any of my points or enjoyed this video at any point, please leave a like, and also, if you wouldn't mind, if you are new, subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be making another one of these videos later once Season 1 comes out to see if they need to fix anything else. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.